If you're a business owner or entrepreneur, then you know how to hustle. You show up every day, you put in the work, and you dedicate yourself day in and day out to making that amazing dream come true. But building a brand doesn't always go as planned. Sometimes it feels like no matter how hard you try, you just can't get past a certain block, fix a specific problem, or take that next step on a daunting project. How do you get yourself from where you are to where you want to be? That's when you ask Amanda. Hi, I'm Amanda Benson Tilch of Ask Amanda, a boutique consulting firm driven by passion and good ideas. I help solve everyday problems for the small business owner, from customer service to marketing to goal setting. I've never met a client I wasn't able to help, because if I can't solve your problem myself, I'll connect you to the person who can. Are you ready to finally break through your toughest problems? Visit askamandaconsulting.com to see how I can help. Because if you ask me, you'll get a solution.
Welcome to the Ask Amanda Show, where we solve everyday problems for the small business owner. Get nuggets of inspiration, access to experts, and answers to those burning questions preventing you from growth. Here's your host, Amanda Benson Tilch.
Hi, welcome to the Ask Amanda Show. This is a full treat for all of us. Today we are recording season 2 of the Ask Amanda Show. This is my first episode of season 2, and I'm thrilled to have Alison Lindemann here as my first guest. Some of you might remember Alison. She was a guest on my season 1, episode 3 of my last season. And man, that was a jam-packed episode, which is fun. It was, but which is why you're back here today, because we did not finish. I think we joked that we could probably have our own podcast, just
probably every week.
Every week. There's so much around digital marketing, which Alison is that expert. Let me give you a little bit of background about Alison and why, again, she's qualified to be here again today. Leveraging over 17 years of experience in corporate and strategic planning, Alison now helps firms ensure a strong relationships with their clients and a smooth transition into digital marketing by creating, executing, and managing targeted marketing strategies that do truly generate results. So, Alison, the last time you were here, that's a tidbit on what you really do, because I swear your bio was much longer than that. But you have an incredible gift, and you are one of the smartest women that I know.
Thanks.
Yes, and I'm lucky to have you as not only my friend, but as a resource. So when you guys ask Amanda, a lot of times I reach out to Alison for some of the answers. But what we talked about in my first season on episode 3, and I highly encourage you guys to go watch it if you haven't seen it before, we really did a deep dive on digital marketing strategies.
Yeah, we did.
We talked about a lot of effective online strategies for small business owners, and I think we both walked away from that thinking there was more, obviously. So today, we are here just strictly to talk about why SEO is so important for your business.
One of my favorite topics.
I know it is. I know it is. So I want to just dive in. I want you just to go just full on, just a quick explanation of what is SEO and SEM, because a lot of people don't understand what that means. So she's going to define it for us today.
Okay. So they're both really digital marketing terminology. And so, you know, it's a bit of semantics, but SEM is search engine marketing. And really that is a digital strategy where someone's putting in a keyword or a search or a question into Google or a search engine. We'll just say Google because Google kind of rules the world.
But Bing or Yahoo
or
whatever.
Any of them. And so SEM is anything that basically shows up when you do a search. So on the first page, let's say at Google, you've got paid advertising. You know, you're paying Google to show up there. You've got organic, which we're going to talk more about, just search engine marketing results, where Google decides what websites are going to be there.
Okay.
You have even FAQ type questions that Google picks that are on the first page of search results. So those kind of things are SEM, anything that could show up wherever it comes from. Search engine optimization, or SEO, is specifically Google's algorithm picking what it thinks, for this discussion, we'll say are the best 10 websites to show up on the first page of search results based on their private,
Right.
set of algorithmic, calculations that pick the best website. So that's more the discussion I think you and I are having about is how do I become a website that makes it there?
So, and I think that the reason why I wanted Alison to talk more about SEO versus SEM, because SEM is just paid really advertising in a way, and SEO is just more integrated into the website. And I really wanted you to kind of dive in on that for our audience today, because
they all have their place.
Yes.
And
yes,
so
of course.
One thing you'd say about SEO is that it is a long-term strategy. And so if someone came to you and said, by Monday, I need to have a first page position on Google because I have some this or that. I'm launching a business or an event. SEO is not going to get you there. SEO is something that takes time to build credibility with Google. So you would then go to the paid ads.
Right. That makes sense. And so you would use them interchangeably.
You could use them together, separately, a blend of them. Paid ads could be cyclical, like it's a heating and air conditioning company and it's the winter and they don't have as many leads, so you turn on some ads. But all along your SEO is running and hopefully building the credibility of a website so that they're getting first page results.
Okay. I think we all are pretty clear on what that is. So let's kind of move into a little bit about how does SEO help a business?
Well, to start with, anything that's really SEM even driven, but search driven, you're going to assume as a business, if you can validate that the terms that someone's putting in, the search phrase, or the question that they're asking, because it could be on a mobile phone, people who are putting those in are people that you as a business owner want to get in front of.
Got it.
So which is different than just I'm sitting on my couch watching TV and a commercial comes up and maybe I want it and maybe I don't. So if you believe as a business that these set of terms, let's say, or searches, are people interested in your product or service, then SEO is something that you should look at because you know already that those people have a desire to learn more about your products or services. So that would be like the overwhelming, reason. And then because it's very data driven and strategic based driven, you, from an SEO perspective, you can understand before you invest in it or spend time, you can understand how many people are searching for these things, because that data is available from Google.
Okay.
What's the volume, and does it fit? If you look at what the other websites that are showing up on the first page with you, if they're your competitors, they're selling something similar, an alternative or whatever, then I'm playing in the right place.
So that's interesting though. So if you're not a digital marketing expert, do you have access to that information? Can you see?
Yeah.
Is there a way to for a normal business owner that's maybe not all tech savvy to find that information?
Yeah, there's some tools, and so in most cases, you're probably not going to invest in some of the sophisticated software that is used to do deeper dives, but there's free versions of tools. There's ways. And even if you just put it into Google, it'll tell you a million whatever web pages speak to this, and you can click and you can look at who are the other companies that show up, and if they're just informational sites that aren't selling or offering what you offer, they may or may not be the right match for you. So you can do a little bit of your own. It's not as sophisticated, but a true SEO program, you're validating volumes are there, the competition is there, the fit is there, and then ultimately with a good SEO plan, you're also looking that your SEO person or your agency running it believes that they can come up with a strategy that can beat the competitors that are on the first page, because you're probably not there. That's why you're looking at doing SEO. And if they've been running this race for 10 years and you're just starting, there's an honest assessment that needs to be made on whether or not a plan could be formed to beat and exceed your competition.
That is key. So I hope that you guys really listen to that, and if not, go rewind it, because and I say this with a lot of knowledge backing it up, having gone through it with experience, but there are a lot of companies that will hit you up and be like, I can get you on the first page. It happens to me all the time. They end up in my junk folder. You guys seen these, and legitimately there's something to be said for that, because there are hardworking companies that can actually do that for you. But what you just said, if you're brand new in the arena, if your business is brand new and you're trying to get on that front page, you really have to have a strong strategy. So reaching out to an expert, I think, is probably the best bet to do. But I mean, investing in that and really listen to what their strategy is. I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say. Don't be sold on the fact that they can get you to the front page, because that's very challenging sometimes. It might not happen.
And again, picking the right phrases and searches and things, because what will happen at times is that a company may say, oh, here, I got you on the first page. Look, I am like the best ever. You're like, renew my contract.
Keep paying me and pay me more.
But if nobody's really searching that way, and you could see if you put it in, you got on the first page, but if there's nobody really doing that, you're getting no calls.
Right.
Like you're getting no forms, you know? And that's the other thing about just in general, you can't really hide. So someone could scam you, let's say, to start with, but if you're not getting leads, the strategy's not working.
Right.
And so to validate and put in the time and research up front and partner with the business to really understand and make sure the terms and the words are right, then the chances of success are a lot greater.
Right, which that makes sense.
Yeah,
I just thought you
gotta make a plan before you execute it.
And believe in the plan, like what you said. I think that's a big part of it, having the knowledge and the backing.
And I think, we're the same as consultants and business experts. I mean, we don't want to take a client that we don't think we can help.
Right. No.
And we don't want, just like a lot of business owners, I don't want a short-term client either. I do want a relationship. That's the truth. So I don't want to get fired. I want to keep going, you know? And so it's in my best interest too, to make sure that whatever strategy I recommend, and sometimes research comes back saying, not a good idea. But you know what? That was good. They needed to do that research.
Honesty is good.
Then we need a plan B. Maybe it's something else that you and I work on together, and maybe that isn't for the business, but doing the research up front is going to help validate that there is or maybe their original strategy just isn't quite right, but I come up with an alternative strategy.
Right.
That's what R&D is for.
That's what also working with an expert is like. Yeah, that's the difference.
Agreed.
Agreed. So kind of, if you can, take us maybe through a couple of steps of like what it means for a business, like what they're looking for, what it means for a business to like start the SEO process if they haven't done it before, but let's say they already have a website.
Well, we have them actually fill out a questionnaire, because we want to understand things like, and we won't get too deep dived into it, but just where are they trying to market? Are you really focused on local, and we'll get maybe into that a little more about how Google works with local businesses, but are you local? Are you regional? Can anybody buy your product and service no matter where they live? And what are you may do a lot of things as a business. You and I serve a lot of different types of businesses and do multiple services, but trying to find out their priorities, like where's their biggest margins, where do they make the most revenue, where do they tend to get the most clients that they want to bring those in, and maybe they cross-sell them later to something else that's harder to sell initially. We need them to be our partner and give us all that input, so when we do the research, we understand the priorities from them first. I may find other ideas and come back to them to validate, but getting their list of priorities and their territory and their target services is where we start. I think that's great. Well, I want to just take a little pause for a minute, because I think that sometimes it can be a little overwhelming learning all this stuff, but I do want to talk about a few more things, like just the strategic research that you guys do or offer for a business. So we're gonna dive into a little bit more when we get back. But for right now, I want to pause and hear from our sponsors, because again, without our sponsors, none of this would be possible. So when we come back, we're going to talk with Alison about just more strategic research.
How can I design something that's even bigger and better for my clients? With that question, I started exploring all these different avenues of what I thought clients really wanted from their financial advisor, and started putting the pieces in place in order to make that happen. My name's Chris Ingram, and I'm the CEO and founder of Prosperitas Financial. What we're designing is something that truly isn't being done at the moment, where somebody has every piece lined up to make sure that we're advising in all aspects of somebody's financial life. We're making sure that Wealth management is just a piece of it, but if we tie it all together, we're going to be more successful at helping the client reach their goals versus helping them have really good returns in the market. We're just doing a much more comprehensive style of wealth management.
At Prosperitas Financial, our planning process focuses on what's most important to you, identifying your goals for the future and addressing any obstacles standing in your way. If you're ready for your comprehensive financial plan, call Brooke Coffee at 661-255-9555, extension 120, or visit us online at prosperitasfin.com to schedule a complimentary consultation with our financial planning team.
Hi, welcome back to the Ask Amanda Show. I am here with my good friend, Alison Lindemann with WSI, who today we are talking about SEO, focusing on SEO because it is such a hot topic, even though a little while ago, people were saying that SEO is like dead and dying. It's like, clearly it's not, but we're going to talk about that in a second.
Okay.
But when we just left off, we were talking about strategic research and how you guys really put together a questionnaire, a really healthy questionnaire for clients before you take them on. And I think I just wanted to reiterate that because going back to what I said before, these companies that will just push to you, I can get you to the top of the page. Like, they're probably not doing that. And I just wanted to highlight that you do that. This is why you hire an expert like Alison. Okay. I just had to get that in there. I just think that that's above and beyond. And that's what we should be doing as business consultants is
Be ethical.
Yes. Thank you. So let's talk about how SEO actually isn't dead and how it's really kind of a hot commodity on the market right now, especially coming out of everything that we've just been in 2020, and how it's on
as you
fire.
know, it's never been dead.
Right.
It's evolved and changed as Google gets more sophisticated. That's their job, to try to pick naturally the very best websites for a given search or a given question, and not give in to the scammers or the spammers, and not pick the sites that just have gamed the system, And so what's happened maybe over the years is that it's gotten tougher because the whole idea is we're just trying to help our clients replicate, which is the natural popularity of a website, because they have a good business and a lot of good services to offer, But yes, it's always been around, and yes, there's been those little like SEO is dead kind of thing because the non-legitimate digital marketers couldn't do it anymore because they didn't understand it. They weren't sophisticated enough,
But we're seeing huge growth with
But
SEO.
now, that's right.
Yeah.
It's you look at so many organizations and so many companies who now are doing business virtually, and they don't have trade shows. They don't have salespeople that are calling on clients anymore. And so they need to count on places like the web and digital marketing and online visibility to introduce their business to the world or to their target market. So if anything, there's an even bigger demand for digital marketing and specifically SEO services.
Right, which is so crucial to businesses today.
It's not dead.
Yeah, it's so not
It's
dead.
alive and ticking.
And I think it's definitely worth being at the top of your marketing strategy when you are sitting down with your business, with your team in your business, and you're planning out your marketing for the year. I truly think if SEO is not on there, you probably doing a disservice to your business. And I'm not trying to generalize everybody's business, but with the way that everything has been going, it's SEO is crucial. I mean, there's no way around it.
It's a key part of any marketing strategy.
Yes. Well, let's move into domain authority. Okay. And I really want you to explain what that means to our audience and kind of dive in on, that's another way of being popular.
I'm smiling because it's technical and I have a tendency to overwhelm people with information. But I also want to try to share it in a way that people understand, the whole idea of what does SEO mean? What do I have to do? Yeah. What can I do myself? Things like that. But we always have to find, as digital marketing experts, a way to try to understand what Google does to pick a site that, let's say, gets on the first page. I mean, it's a sophisticated algorithm that has hundreds of factors that it looks at. So, and it's private to Google. They don't tell you, here's what it is, so we can replicate it. So very smart people and engineers come up with these mini algorithms, replicating or scoring systems to give a sense of where are you in digital marketing? Can you rank, or what would it take?
Okay.
So, and it's looking at your domain, because Google is scoring the popularity or viability of a domain name. The day you buy a domain, the day you put a website on, it's like your birthday online.
Yeah.
And Google looks at that as
Okay.
far as
How long
legitimately
it's been.
how long you've been around.
Is there a place a business can go to find where their domain ranks? Or
Well,
no?
yes, there are
Okay.
things they can do to look at their age of their domain or their domain registration and things, but this authority,
Okay.
or call it a score, it's really 0 to 100. Google didn't make it up. Smart digital marketing people are using this just as a measuring stick, okay? And so the way it works is the higher this score, say 1 to 100, even though you never see 50 and over. I mean, the hugest websites on the internet are 50s and 60s and things.
Okay.
But is evaluating how popular your domain is. How they measure this authority is the more website links, the more links you have to your website from other websites with high domain authority, your domain authority goes up. It's like a popularity contest. Like I have a high domain authority. That means I have a strong reputation with Google, and I link to you. I'm passing some of my domain authority, my prestige, to you.
Right.
It's my vote of confidence to you.
So let me pause for a second so I can clarify a little bit. So you're saying if like your website link was on another website, right? Then and that had high ranking. Now
it'll give me a little bit of it. It'll help share it to me. So if I'm just making it up an example. If I'm a domain authority of 20, and then 5 websites that are domain authority 30 give me a link to my website, then my domain authority, let's say, goes up to 23.
Just because of that, yeah.
Because it gave votes of because Google's algorithm is looking at who's kind of voting for me, who's giving me.
So it's important to develop those relationships with other websites that have a high ranking that make sense for you guys to collaborate, where you would have a link on their site.
I mean, yes, that's correct. So if as a digital marketer, if I'm managing someone's SEO, I mean, it's not about literally me picking up the phone and like making a contact or relationship. I mean, we obviously know in our practice, like where we would go to get some of these links for people, or how we'd create them ourselves, and the kind of reputable websites that we need to engage with, or directories online that have a really strong reputation. But yes, there's things that a business owner could be aware of that I think we'll talk about a little bit to try to go, oh, this is an opportunity. Oh, I joined the Chamber of Commerce. I bet you a Chamber of Commerce has a good domain authority, or a higher one than mine, so I might want to get a link. Or I'm going to a trade show. I wonder if they'll give me a link, the trade show.
Or you're supporting a nonprofit. I wonder if they'll give me a link.
Things like that. So having and that's part of education that I know both you and I do for our clients. So helping our clients understand how this works is also going to let them be a partner and help themselves too when an opportunity creates itself. But for the most part, we're doing it based on our own knowledge. And again, domain authority is a starting point to know that what I've got to do to build credibility of a website so that it will end up ranking for a broad set of terms.
So let's talk about that. What do you have to do to your website to make sure that it's worthy?
Yeah. So again, that part of it is the link building, and the domain authority is kind of the external promotion of the website. But then you're right. Your website itself's got to be good.
Right.
So both are needed.
Can't be outdated.
Both can hurt themselves. But yeah, it's got to be technically sound. That's a huge one. You know, and so that could be its own discussion that no one probably wants to hear right now, of all the things technically that need to be done. I mean, you've got to have a good webmaster or a web person working on your site to make sure it works. Google just implemented a performance part of this algorithm that's called Core Vital Stats, and it really is impacting websites that just don't rock on mobile. And so it's really looking at the minute that someone picks up their phone and puts in a website or does a search,
clicks on something,
and how long it takes from the moment they hit click until the entire website loads, that they can actually move their finger or their mouse and take the next action. How long did it take between click and I can do something.
Wow.
And if that sucks on
That's
your
slow.
phone, then Google said, we will not rank you as high on mobile searches. And
Wow.
most people are using their phone to do searches.
Everybody is,
Yeah,
I feel
but I mean,
like. Yeah.
there's a percent that aren't, but the vast majority. So you're in a world of hurt if you've got issues on your mobile.
Yeah, if
so
it's not mobile
that's
friendly.
part of being technically sound. You know, again, trying not to get to too much of the minutia, but once you decide through research and things, what are the different areas that we're gonna focus on? That, let's say 4 or 5 different services that a business provides. They've got to have associated content on their website.
Okay.
And so what you'll see a lot of websites do is they create one page called services, and there's 5 or 6 or 7 services listed on that page. But if you want to do good at SEO, I need to have a page of content for each of those services that I can set up technically, that there's enough words on the page that I can build links to that page.
Wow.
But if it's all crammed on one page,
Yeah.
I can't do all
You're
that
missing
work.
the opportunity.
So
Yeah.
so part of it's looking at, you know,
Yeah.
how to create a website right, how to make it work right, how to not have errors on your site. Google will know
Yeah.
that, and you'll get
And
dinged
like
for
your
those.
address, right? Something to do with maps.
Yeah. So if
Google
you're, and maybe, you know, the whole maps is another topic, but if you're locally oriented, you know, so you're a local restaurant, you're a dry cleaners, you're something that you're going to drive to, right? Google is looking at the business name, the physical address, the phone number.
Right.
So all those things got to match on the web and on your website. So part of building your website is, and the easiest way is to put it in your footer of your site.
Oh,
Put
yeah.
in all your local contact information, including your address and your phone, because that's part of how Google understands where you are. Oh, you're where in the area that you're looking for when you're doing a search. So you
Right.
have to have that kind of information very visible on your site.
Right.
And
And
hopefully on all the pages.
Clear. Yeah, hopefully on all the pages.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a pause for a minute because I feel like that's going to lead us into Google My Business. And I want to
Okay.
be able to come back and really talk healthily about Google My Business.
Okay.
So when we come back, we're going to hear from our sponsors first. And when we come back, we're going to talk about Google My Business with Alison.
Hi, I'm Marlene Villa. I own Villa Promotionals. I help companies promote themselves through the use of promotional products. You want to put something out there so that you can be remembered. That name and that retention lasts so much longer on a product that client's going to use and value than just a handshake or a business card. I started Via Promotionals so that I could help companies increase their volume and retain their clients. Many of the businesses I find that we work extremely well with are municipalities, hospitals, colleges, and a lot of our larger clients will be ordering 1,000 to 5,000 items. However, they're going to maybe just need one tablecloth or they're going to need that one award. Well, we also tailor to that. We actually take the time to make sure that that product is the one that's going to match your business and the goals that you're trying to achieve. We have great communication with our clients every step of the way. They don't have to just hope that it's going to show up that day. We're going to let them know when it's shipped and when it's supposed to be delivered. If you're looking for quality products and customer care for your business, call 661-254-4910 or email us at viapromos@yahoo.com and visit our website at viapromos.com.
Hi, welcome back to the Ask Amanda Show. I'm sitting here with Alison Lindemann, my SEO expert, but also she can be yours. I'll share her. So I want to jump back into the conversation that we left off about Google My Business. I want you to kind of share a little bit about what that means for a business.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when we paused or took a break, I was talking about how important it is to get your address and your phone number on your website. And so in our technical terms in my industry, we call it NAP, which is basically name, address, and phone. And this ties into things like Google Maps.
Okay.
And so when Google is validating the credibility of a business, like we talked about with domain authority and the quality of your website, the way it's helping understand that you're credible, reputable, you've been around, is it's looking for other places on the web to find your exact name, your exact address, your exact phone number, those 3 things. So that's the reason you need them on your website.
It's also why you need to be consistent in those
Exactly.
things. Yeah.
It's looking at, they call them business citations, but things all over the web like your Yelp listing,
Right.
Yellow Pages,
Thank you.
Angie,
Yes.
whatever it is, like listings online, directories, the chamber listing,
Like your social media
your
stuff
networking
as well?
group, online
Right,
listing, anything. So it's saying, okay, I know business ABC is credible because I found 50 places with this exact business name spelling, the exact address,
Okay.
suite number if you have a suite number, and the right phone number.
Oh, that's
so you
crucial.
can't go flipping around and sometimes use acronyms for your business or change your suite number to like pound something.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying, or sometimes use a 1-800 number and sometimes use your local, exchange.
I'm just
So-
making a note because
so
I don't think I have that.
That's
I need to
important.
fix
And there's
that.
actually tools to check. I can tell you about
Yeah.
those later.
Okay.
But one huge citation is Google My Business, right? Which is the maps. So when Google decides, because a lot of times it's Google deciding, not us, we can try to prompt it.
Right.
But when it decides based on the type of search that someone does, oh, they're looking for a local search result because they put in Mexican restaurant city name.
Okay.
They're not looking to go all over the world at this point.
Right.
They're thinking it's local. Whether or not you actually put the town name into the search, Google will still decide a lot of times, oh, she put in dry cleaners. She's looking for something right by her. Even
Okay.
if I didn't put in my city name.
Yeah, I
where
always
I live.
wondered how it did
Yeah.
that.
If you put in a city name because you're out of town traveling, it's going to default
Yeah.
first to that. Or, I mean, if you're out of town and you search for something in your home, let's say, it'll
Yeah.
trip back to it. But Google understands where we're at when we do a search.
It's interesting because I'm in Burbank a lot, and when
yeah.
I'm there, I'll search for something, and it pops up the local one when my Google address is attached to me in Santa Clarita, but
Yeah.
it will pull.
Yeah.
So
It
now
is-
that all makes
yeah.
sense of why that's so
And
important.
so Google decides based on that search whether it thinks you're looking for something local, and that's where this Google My Business comes in. So
Okay.
for people, if you don't understand GMB, Google My Business, it's when you see the map, the little map on Google search result with a bunch of pinpoints, and little businesses popping out. It's because Google thinks you're looking for something local, and they're mostly right. Okay. So
Yeah.
now the question is, how do I get my business? Because normally it's only going to call out 3 businesses. It may pinpoint a bunch of them on the map, but
noticed
only
that.
3 get like a listing, right? So one, you need to claim your listing if
Let
you
me
don't.
ask you a question. Are any of those 3 ever paid? Can you
Well,
pay?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So that's introducing a
Okay.
whole set of, but there are ways, yes, that you can put them inside a
Sure.
Google advertising
Okay.
account.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yes, you can.
Didn't mean to open up a can
No,
of
it's a good
worms, but
question.
I thought,
It's a
yeah,
good question.
Okay.
Most of them are found through an algorithm. The algorithm's a little different than the one to show on the rest of the page.
Okay.
But it starts with, what you can do as a business owner is just put in your business name and your city, state, and find your listing. And if there's a listing there, but you don't control it, there's a process you can go through to take ownership of it, just like a
Okay.
Yelp account, for
Yes.
example.
Yes.
And what you want to do as far as tips is everything that Google asks you to put in that, I'll call it a business profile, fill it out. Fill it
Okay.
out. If in doubt, fill it out. If it wants, a photo, it wants a video, it wants a business description, of course it wants your address and all that. Make sure it all matches into that NAP we're talking about.
Right.
But there's things like
So don't leave any of those questions that Google
No.
comes up with.
fill it
blank.
out because it's sort
Okay.
of like percent completed is a
Okay.
factor in
Okay.
the algorithm.
Great tip.
But also proximity of the searcher to where you're saying your business is. So when you put that your business is at 123 Main Street, Google's mapping that, and it's mapping where it thinks the searcher's located, which
Okay.
can be imperfect, but it's looking at. So those are things we can't control. If Google thinks you're 10 miles away, but another business is 2 miles away,
Right.
it's going to give more credit to the business that's 2 miles away.
Closer.
So that's why you and me got to do everything we can to make our profile perfect because we can't help exactly where we're located.
Where they're searching
But
from.
if we got in the map, we have a fighting chance to get in that top 3.
Okay.
And there's FAQs. There's a place
Right.
in Google My Business to put your questions and answer. Put those darn things in. fill them out, right?
Yeah.
That is where people can go to review you. So when you get reviews on Google, they're going to your Google My Business listing. In the algorithm, once you especially hit 5 stars, it kind of trips another algorithm plus to go, oh, they've got 5 reviews.
Wow.
Not 1 or 2 star reviews,
Yeah.
but 5-star reviews.
Right.
So a business should be working on getting reviews in Google on their listing to help them rank high.
That's a good question because that is something that we push for sometimes for like our clients on like that's another referral basis. But like, do those reviews is it help you ranking wise if those reviews are more current or recent, or like what if they're old reviews like from 2018 or 17 or 16 versus 21?
Yeah. To my knowledge, it doesn't have a factor.
Okay.
It doesn't have a factor.
They're going to make it now. I just said it. That's
okay.
why.
If everything, I mean, if you think about it, for the most part, this is what we've seen, and I read all this research and things, but if everything else is kind of equal, like they're located close, they filled out their profile, blah, 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 more reviews is going to win. You don't usually see a business with no reviews outranking a business with a bunch of reviews.
Okay, that makes sense.
But like a good goal for a business owner is saying, I'm going to get 5, and hopefully they're 5-star or close to 5-star. If you have less than a 3-star, it might even be a 3-star or less, you're getting negatively impacted by Google. They tell you that you're not going to show up. So I mean, they don't want to reward.
This is off topic, but is there, if you get a 3-star or below, how many 5-stars do you need that would?
Well, it's like a math program. Like the math, it depends how many bad ones you have.
Yeah, I know.
So if you only have a couple negative ones and you get 5 or 10 good ones, you'll see it. The law of averages brings it back up. But if you have a lot of bad ones, it takes more work. You know.
That makes sense.
But working on those kind of things on your Google My Business, I mean, that map typically shows above everything else on a local search. So it's. If you, let's say that was your baby step before you went into full out SEO organic, would be working on your Google My Business listing to try to get that to show up. And if you're not in the top 3, I mean, there's a little button that says see more.
Yeah.
And it does go to the rest of them.
Click it.
Yeah. But I mean, this is just like organic search in that the top results, the top listing in SEO, the top listing in Google Maps gets overwhelmingly the vast majority of clicks.
Yeah.
So each time your listing is a little bit lower, I think I was telling you, like in organic, the top one gets almost a third of all the clicks if you're number 1 on first page of Google. If you're number 10 on first page, which still is like, woo, I got on the first page, you're getting like 2.5% of the clicks.
Yeah.
And so a reason to hire an SEO person would be, I'm on the first page, but I'm not at the top. There's a huge margin for way more targeted traffic if you can get yourself higher up on.
Yeah.
So when we get hired to do an SEO project, especially on a local business, Google Maps is a huge part of it. We take control of that listing. We optimize it. We link build to it. We do other strategies to get that high up.
That leads in. I think that leads me into the next question that would be beneficial to our audience here is because you've seen them. There's bogus business pages, like business listings on there. So like, what do you do or like somebody created one for your business that they own it and it's bogus. Like how do you, what do you do?
That's a really good question. So, Google isn't perfect. Nothing's perfect. I mean, we want to think that everything works the way it's supposed to, but people look to game systems. I mean, they always have. And so what'll happen is a business will create another listing, let's say, instead of it being their business name, I'm always using dry cleaners, I don't know why, but they call their listing, instead of the name of the dry cleaner, Best Dry Cleaner, or even Best Dry Cleaner, Santa Clarita, or whatever city they're in. And Google appreciates the keywords in the business name, but that isn't even their business name, right? And so they set up a listing, and at least in the short term, Google rewards them. Google rewards that going, it's because the perfect search term. It's at a location really close to the searcher, and it shows up. And then you were 1 or 2, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm 3, or I went from 3 to 4. I'm not even on the first page. And you look, and it's the same address as your competitor, and they have one, and now they have another one.
So what do you do?
So, I mean, turn them in.
Right.
That's what you do.
So you can report them.
Yes.
Okay.
And I can tell you from doing it, sometimes it's quicker for me to turn them in than to do things to make my clients go up even higher. I just turn in that cheater and get them out of there. So you can submit, there's a form, and you basically show them, sometimes I literally have to drive to the place. I have to drive to the address, take a picture and go, see, it doesn't say dry cleaner Santa Clarita.
That's you going above and beyond.
Well, I mean, I need that thing taken down.
Right.
And, sometimes it's a completely different business. I mean, it's not even, so yeah, if you see that there's spammy ones when you check your own, then you can go in and report them and get them removed.
I love that.
That does not mean they won't be back later.
Right,
Or another
in a
person.
different
And so my guess is that Google will in time do a better job in blocking those so they're not there.
Or just verifying them.
But right now it is annoying.
It's an issue.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good tip for you guys.
Yeah.
So I just want to wrap up just this part of it because again, we could be talking for hours and we don't have that much time. So I definitely want to thank you for being here. I hope that it was helpful, but we're just not done yet. So when we come back from taking a little break, we are going to find out where we can reach Alison because I know you guys probably have a lot of questions for her. And then we're going to flip the script and we're going to, this is the Ask Amanda show. So Alison gets to ask me a couple questions. All right, we'll be right back.
As business owners and professionals, you have so much on your plate. You never stop to think about your headshots, marketing video, or personal branding until you need it now. Then you're scrambling to figure out what to wear, how to match your brand, what to say, how to reach your target audience, and how to use your visuals in a way that actually makes an impact in your marketing.
You quickly realize you don't have any of the answers because you're not supposed to. You're not a professional marketer, model, or TV personality. You're an executive who needs efficiency, superior quality, and a little direction. You also want to feel good when you step in front of the camera, and maybe even have a little bit of fun too.
Hi, this is Brian and Lindsay Schlick with Schlick Art Photography and Video. We provide professional headshots, marketing photography, business videos, video subscriptions, and more to help you market your business with compelling visuals and a streamlined experience. We guide you through the process every step of the way so you can feel your best on camera and make the biggest impact in your marketing.
Visit schlickart.com to see how we can help you take your brand to the next level and look good while doing it.
Hi, welcome back to the Ask Amanda show. I'm here with my friend Alison Lindemann of WSI, the SEO expert, among other things, but that's what we were talking about today, of course. You're my go-to person for a lot of things, actually, in this world. But I want to thank you for being on the show today and really educating our listeners with, a lot of tips on Google My Business, on maps, on just SEO terms, obviously the explanation of it. You really, I felt did a great job explaining things and kind of trying to dumb it down for us.
I love being here.
Well, thank you.
I'm honored.
Thank you. Why don't you tell people where they can connect with you? Because I know they're going to want to hire you after all this.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I mainly hang out on social media, on Facebook, and a lot on LinkedIn, especially lately. So you can find me there under my name or WSIE Biz. If you Google, again, you'll see my phone number. I'm local. I have an office here. We do a lot of Zoom. We have a lot of clients in other places. So I'm happy to.
And I love your office.
Anyone that's a friend of yours is a friend of mine.
Thank you. Love that. So now we're going to flip the script. Here comes your turn.
Yay,
so let's
turn.
ask Amanda some questions.
A question that I have for my own knowledge, I'd be curious, because this terminology SEO and SEM and all the stuff we talked about, I mean, you meet with a lot of businesses, you know, a lot local, some not. I'm just curious, do people ask you about SEO when you're talking marketing, and do they even know what it means?
Right. So I get a little bit of both. I get the educated people, which I've turned over to you. I think you probably still are doing their SEO for them, that are like, hey, Amanda, who do you know? I need to start doing that for my business. And it's more of a strategy. So you probably are watching this and they know who they are. So I get that question a lot. They're looking more for a referral, somebody that I can turn them on to, that they trust, you know, that is going to do a good job for them. And then, so some of the other questions I get are around, what does that mean exactly? Like, what is SEO? Because I hear about it a lot, and like, I feel like I need to be doing that. And also it's interesting. Does it work on social media? So like, just really not understanding what it really is.
So they're hearing about it, but not really knowing.
No. So I think this is going to be helpful to them. And trust me, I will push it to all of them.
I'm so glad.
Yes.
I'm so glad.
It'll be good. Yes.
So here's another one for you.
Okay.
If you wanted to impart one most important advice that you could give to a business,
Oh, geez.
what would you say? What would
Okay.
you give them? What would you tell them to do?
That's a good one. I am going to quote Warren Buffett. Not that I'm even on that same caliber, but he's somebody that I have listened to. Yeah, right? Yeah. And he always puts the customer first. Everything is about the customer. I think his quote is never stop thinking how you can delight your customer. And it's not how you can satisfy your customer. It's not how you can fulfill the needs of your customer, but how you can delight your customer. And I've used the term, and it's not mine, but I've said it many times, the whole surprise and delight. You know, that goes a long way, and I really love that quote. I think that's the best advice because as business owners, we get caught up in the day-to-day, the sales, the revenue, the numbers, the growth, the strategies, the marketing, the next hot topic, the next thing that we're doing, and we forget none of that matters if you don't have a good relationship.
And you know what I like about just that your answer is that how much things that you and I do pair up with each other, even though our expertise may be a little different, because we talked about the things that I do or digital marketing or businesses can do to have web presence. But if they don't have a viable business and a really good customer experience behind it, anything that I do is a fail.
Yeah.
So really a business, you know, it sounds cliche because we're both here, but
it's true.
A business really needs things that both of us do or have expertises in to really have an overall winning strategy.
Yes,
you know?
but you have to care. And I think a lot of businesses will fall, I mean, going back to what we talked about with Google reviews, you know, like if you've got low stars, don't blame the people writing those reviews. Think about why they wrote the review.
Yeah. And if you have those kind of reviews associated with your business, whether they're legitimate or not,
Right, that's another thing.
then strategies that you and I could, either one of us could do online or offline, are going to have challenges until whether it's real or not or perceived, until they're fixed and addressed.
But what I would say to you guys out there, business owners, like, you know, think about customer retention. So like, when was the last time you did a customer appreciation? Anything, whether it was a little get together, whether it was a handwritten thank you card in bulk to every one of them, whether it was giving them waters at the end of the door, like just anything. So like, think about just really treating the customer, you know, with delight like that. I think that's a great quote from him. So that would be my answer.
Okay. Well, let's see. The other thing that I think would be helpful, and I'd love to know too, is what are your favorite podcasts you listen to? Who are your influencers? Who do you get your, you know, your motivation from?
Well, recently, because I was just on his podcast and I do love it, which is Robert Clark. He has a podcast called Advice First. He's local here and he's really doing a good job interviewing, I think, local business owners and stuff. And it's really cool. They always have a good little takeaway. So I like that one. I like Entree Leadership. That Dave Ramsey umbrella. That one is very helpful. I listen to like What the Fuck Gym Talk, it's called. Love that guy. He's just straightforward. A lot of great gym marketing tips and just overall strategies. He's really in your face and great. Obviously the name of his is kind of one of them. 40 Thrive. One of my very first guests was Jackie McDougall. And she's got a great podcast that she's actually going to be a little bit rebranding coming up. But I really like her guests. They're all very women empowered. And I think that she's got a great message and stuff. It's funny because I'm not a big fan of like mystery or like whatever, like those murder shows. I don't really listen to like books or those kind of podcasts. I really like educational podcasts. So I'm always, as you are, in learning mode. I swear to that's like we live off.
I mean,
of
I think it's just part of what we do in our nature. I mean, in our businesses to stay relevant.
Just trying to get better all the time. And so those are the ones that I like to listen to the most. And then I think Social Pros is another really great one. With Jay Bear, I like him too. But they're all educational, I feel like. There's a couple of guys, a lot of the stuff I listen to that are motivational, like about, you know, like your mental state and just very inspirational and driven. I like Ed Milet. Like I listen to like, they're all men though. It's so funny.
Yeah, that's interesting.
There's not to me, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, shoot me a little message, but like there's not a woman in the space of really, I don't think anyway, that's respectable that is really trying to push you to get better and drive you, and
Are these all like drive time podcasts you listen to?
A lot.
Like, when else are you going to have time?
Yeah, every morning when I get ready.
Yeah, okay.
When I do this every morning, I got YouTube or my...
Well, we know you get like that in 2 seconds.
love
So
you.
you must have to find other time to listen to these.
And then I finish them on the drive. Yeah, that's what I do. But, well, Allison, thank you so much. Wait, what podcast do you listen to? Do you?
Not really.
The Ask Amanda Show is the only one.
I don't listen to any. I don't subscribe. I'm not like a loyal to anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to say I listen way more to webinars.
Well, that makes sense for you.
I mean, it's just because, and I have to pass like continuing ed and all that. So I'm kind of
that makes sense.
Boring.
That's your time. That's your free time. Yeah. Allison, thank you so much for being here today. I didn't even mention the two books that are on the table are like, you wrote them. It's like, listen, she's legit, you guys. So I don't really know what else you need except for to call an expert when you're looking for anything digital marketing or SEO, and there's one right in front of you. So I hope that you take advantage of it. Thank you so much for being here today.
I love it. Thank you
Until
so much,
next time,
Amanda.
because I know there will be one. Thank you for watching the Ask Amanda Show.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode. Do you have a topic you'd love to hear about? Or is there something you want to ask Amanda? Make sure to comment below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel so you get a notification whenever we post new videos.